Hey everybody, and welcome back to another awesome show today. Hope you guys are going to enjoy it. This is the Crypto Night Show, and your host Superman in the house. We're going to have a great show because we're going to be covering some of the very best farms and high yield farms on PULSECHAin. So I hope you guys enjoy this as well. The other thing I want you to get into is following here on X. This is my new account, and of course, get in there. It's brand new. We're starting from scratch. So get on that. That's the Kryptonite Show, and hit us a follow on X, and of course share it around amongst your community. That would really help to grow there as well. So get on that one. Let's go. Now the other thing, of course, I've recently gone on to Rumble the last 2 weeks, and of course you guys are amazing over there. Really enjoying it over there, and what a platform! What a platform! I love it. I'm pro freedom, of course, and we're fighting against the globalists. So we've got a shared common interest there. And of course, get in there and hit the follow button straight away while you're there. And of course, share it around as well. I mean, there's a button there that says, repost. So repost it to your community and encourage your friends to follow as well. If you love great crypto shows, I've got a really good one coming up after this. Of course, there's one after another of alpha shows, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, if you're on YouTube, of course, smash the subscribe button also. And a big shout out to all the supporters, 11,000 supporters at the moment. And of course, we're looking to grow, and share the journey together in crypto. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, we've got Property View in the house there. Good to see you. Great coverage. Better than VOX is Property View. I appreciate that so much. Yeah. All right. So let's get straight into it. We've got lots to talk about. And of course, I want you to get to follow there on X. So let's get into that panel. So that is the X account. You can follow today. And of course, I started a brand new one. Unfortunately, on X, they've still got people censoring. So my old account that I had, which was quite large, unfortunately got suspended for no reason given. Typical sort of platform here. So despite Elon Musk's best efforts, a lot of accounts still get suspended for no good reason whatsoever. So maybe there's a few little left-wing radicals working there. It's just the way it goes, right? All right, so we're starting again, and we've got a new brand, of course, a Kryptonite Show. So get in on that and help support the channel, share it around. And of course, also on Rumble too, which we're absolutely loving. I'm really loving Rumble. I'm going to do a lot more content on Rumble. So really enjoying that. All right, let's get straight into it though. We're going to talk about farms, right? So on PULSECHAin. So the first farm that was up and running was PulseX, right? This is founded by Richard Hart, probably the most well-known rebel founder in crypto. And of course, he recently defeated the SEC in court in New York, which is pretty impressive. And of course, he started PulseChain. He forked Ethereum on the 10th of May 2023, and it went live on the 13th of May 2023. And of course, then by the 31st of July, the SEC slapped a good old lawsuit. And of course, he's ended up defeating that on the 28th of February this year. That's how long it took. And so, PulseChain's had that hanging over its head. And of course, recently there's been a lot of drama about the Maker contract, which got copied over, right? Because PulseChain was a full system state fork of Ethereum. And of course, there's been lots of drama about that. So the PulseChain, lots of different cool things happening there, both positives and of course challenges as well. And of course, recently we've seen a massive dip in the price, a big opportunity for buyers, which bounced back the last 2 days ago. So we've seen some nice gains for people to make. But we want to look at farms. Like, how can you get big yields on farms? So farms, you typically provide liquidity in liquidity pools. You might provide 2 different tokens, for example. It might be Pulse, it might be Hex, for example, and then you put those into a pool and you get some yield from all the trading that goes there, right? Typically about 0.3%, right? That's kind of the amount that you typically get in most farms. So here, of course, you take those LPs that you provide and you get LP tokens. They represent the ownership of those liquidity that you've provided with those tokens. And you can take those in LP ownership tokens and put them into farms. So LP just means liquidity provider. And those tokens get put into your wallet showing that you own that liquidity. Now, of course, if you want to take that liquidity out, you need your LP tokens to take that out. So you've always got to take the LP tokens that you put into a farm to earn extra yield. Normally it has another token. In this case, on PulseX, it's the INC token or incentive token. And you have to have those in your wallet so you can take your liquidity back out. So you've got 2 transactions there at least, right? And plus approvals, which is a pretty important thing there. Now, we're going to have a quick look at the history here. Obviously, PulseX launched about a year and 5 months ago or so, maybe 6 months. And this was the first one, and it had very high yields on it. We're talking about, 60, 80% yields. And at the beginning, of course, it had super yields, thousands of percent. but it's steadied at about 80%. And then, of course, recently Richard Hart lowered the inflation rate for INC by about 20x, a factor of 20x. And so the yield came all the way down to where it is today. And we can see at the moment we've got PulseX and Pulse, which is the DEX, of course, PulseX DEX, and of course Pulse, the Pulse chain, that's currently sitting at about 0.42% APR. So it's pretty low. And we've got about 6.4 million in liquidity sitting in there at the moment. Then, of course, there's bridged in stuff. The stuff that's bridged over from Ethereum over to Pulse chain. There's paired up with the Pulse coin, which is the main coin, the fee coin of Pulse chain. And there's 4 different pools of those with USDC, Dime, USD Tether, and ETH. And they're all kind of earning about 10, 11% there. And the wrapped ETH one earning about 5% there. And then, of course, there's more of the Richard Hart tokens, Hex and Pulse, Incentive Pulse, and Incentive PulseX there. They're earning 1.2% and down to 0.5% for the Inc. PulseX farm. So they used to be about, these PulseX farms used to be about 30, 40%, and these bridged in tokens used to be about 80% or something like that. So that's kind of where they are. And of course, once you cut the inflation, the yield goes down. Now, with the yield going down, the APR, the annual percentage return, you've also got the amount of liquidity in those pools also gone down, right? So gone down a couple $100 million there to where it is today. So this is kind of the first farm that came out. And so just to give you a benchmark of the yields that you can kind of expect, gives you a good idea of where we're going with these high yield farms, just to give you a comparison and a bit of evolution how farms on PulseChain have evolved since it launched back on the 13th of May 2023, about 600 and what was it, about 690 days ago, something like that. So Anita's in the house there. Good to see Anita with the rockets, liking that. Now, of course, then we moved over to Daytona Finance, right? So Daytona Finance launched shortly after, only a few days, maybe a few weeks after. And that launched. And of course, there are a few other farms that launched that I'm not going to be talking about. They were kind of high risk. And we're going to talk about Daytona farms as well. And so this launched shortly after PulseX. And you can see at the moment, the farm yields are still not too bad. I mean, there's still some good farm yields. Now, that depends on the amount of value that's in them. The amount of liquidity in there, what we call total value locked. So, you provide a certain amount of liquidity. Let's say it's $10,000, $100,000, that will show up as total value locked. So you do have to look at individual pools and the risk factors around those. But in terms of yields, which is the main thing we're looking at, you can see that, you got the Tony token, which is the main token for Daytona, and Pulse, the main fee on Pulse chain. It's got a APR of 15% at the moment. You got Tony USDC stable sitting at 103%. So that's still pretty damn good. With that, and then you got the P-Wrap Bitcoin with Tony mixed at 180% there. So the P stands for Pulse Chain, right? So it's a fork copy of the Ethereum version. And of course, as you know, Wrap Bitcoin over on Ethereum is a custodial Bitcoin, right? It's a subset of the total supply of Bitcoin held in trust, basically, and custodial there. And of course, this has been copied over to Pulse Chain. Who knows what the price will be? It's been very, very high and got up to like over $2,000. And it's currently around about $200. So that's kind of where that is. Now, we've got other farms in here with pretty decent yields. I mean, Hex there, Hex Tony is at 61%. This is Pulse Chain Hex with the P on it. And the eHex is from Ethereum. It's bridged over from Ethereum over to Pulse Chain. That's at 57%. We've got PulseX, of course, is the main DEX token. That is at 55%. So still got some pretty good yields in here. Once again, you do have to look at the risk factors around the actual pools that you're putting in and the actual platform as well. But this has been around for a long time, and you can see it's pretty feature rich. It's got a lot of features on this protocol for Daytona. You got pools, you got NFT auctions, lots of things like that. Now, this has kind of had a big hurrah at the beginning, and of course, it does tend to taper out over time. But some of the yields on here are still kind of pretty attractive. But once you got to trade off that risk return factor, don't you? All right, so that's the second one. Then after Daytona launch, very shortly after, also about a year and 5 months ago, we had 9-inch farms launch, right? This was was part of a big sacrifice program. I think it was something like $15-16 million. It was pretty big there. And it was founded by a guy called Hexy Bastard. It's quite the name, I know, but that is his name. And welcome to crypto. And of course, the farms on here, we've got several farms. We've got the 9-inch farm, which is the main token for the 9-inch. This is a DEX, of course, and a farm. And of course, you can also got there's tools there for doing airdrops, for launching your own tokens and creating your own tokens. There's lots of different features here on 9-inch on PulseChain. And this is also a dual chain, right? So it's also on Ethereum as well. But we got 9-inch here with Pulse. That's at 35%. We got 9-inch DAI at 38%. We got 9-inch USDC at 35%. and we've also got 9-inch USDC at 32%. So you can kind of see the ranges here of 9-inch, and this has been around for quite a long time. And so we're going to look at the prices of these charts later on. But just to give you an idea of the kind of pairs that you can actually go in. So if you provide liquidity for 9-inch and Pulse, you could also put your LP tokens in the farm here, right? Now, they also have their own DEX, right? So you can actually provide liquidity in here as well. So you can actually provide liquidity on here. So on PulseX, of course, you provide liquidity in the farms here. And there's two types of farms, V1 and V2. So that's a sort of a two different pools. They do different things. V1 is where you have the farms. V2 does not have farms. But they have other farms that will use V2 pools, which we're going to talk about coming up. But 9-inch has its own pools, and of course, it's got its own DEX, and you can take those tokens and put them in these farms, and not just earn fees in the liquidity providing, but also earn big bonus tokens, the BBC token as they call it, in the farms here. So it's pretty awesome, and you can see the yields at the moment pretty good. We got APR 22% on the SolidX Pulse one here for the liquidity. Let me just jump over to the farm again. Just dropped over to liquidity. So we've got different yields here. 38% for the 9-inch. We got 9-inch USDC stablecoin at 35%. You can kind of see where the ranges are pretty much around 20 to 40% with these different trading pairs. Now, this has been around for a long time. It has been quite a long-lasting protocol because it's got a DEX as well, right? It's not just a farm. It's actually got its own DEX, so that actually helps a lot, and it has a lot of other tools and features on it as well. So you've got to take into account, what's the offering overall, how big's the community, and of course, the founder may be also supporting it. Who knows? Raising $15 million or so. That's a lot of cash, right? So that is the farms. And then after that, we had SparkSwap launch. SparkSwap was very popular at the beginning and had a little unique little feature called Sparkle. And what this enabled you to do was take the main token, which was called Spark, and put it in here and earn yield. So what do you earn? You earn Spark and Pulse LP, which is a little bit of an innovative feature. And keep that in mind, because we're looking at that once we get up to EMIT, which has done something similar, but actually perhaps even better. So we're going to talk about that coming up. Now, obviously, with the farms over here on SparkSwap, you can see some of the yields at the moment. We've got 12% for the NOPE token here and SDI. We've got all these different kind of pairs. Some of them you may not be familiar with. We've got NOPE token here, which is actually an influencer's coin. This is Randy Olasky is a big influencer in the PulseChain community, and that's been matched up with Spark. And of course, that's in an LP there. That's at 32% APR at the moment as well. Now, you probably have to connect details, and if you hit the details at the bottom, you'll be able to see the total liquidity in those pools. So just take note. It's got particularly small liquidity. You have to be concerned about certain liquidity provisions as well. So just you got to balance up a few more things. What I'm really trying to highlight during this video is the yields that are on offer in the different farms at the moment, and not talking in depth about TVL, about the liquidity pair itself, and all the other risks that are there, like impermanent loss and stuff like that. So just take that into account. And at the moment, we've got another one here, B Spark here, Pulse, that's got 36%. So you can kind of see some of the yields here, 20 to 30%. So we've got one here, Bro and PLS at 49%. Now that may have other risk factors to it. So you can kind of see we've got some with really low yields here, 5%. They may not have much in there at all. It's got $5,200 in. It's not too bad for a little farm pair, and so on. So you can kind of see some of the yields there. So we have some that are only about 3 or 4%, and some that are up at 60% there. But once again, you have to think about how much liquidity is in that pair, how much demand, and what's all that sort of stuff like that, and permanent loss. So these are the active farms at the moment, and you can kind of see that we had yields from as low as 3% up to 60% on SparkSwap. And this has been around a long time. So we're going to talk about how long in a minute, but that is kind of where we are here on SparkSwap. Now, that moves us on to VOX. Now, VOX is a farm that launched recently and had a fantastic start. The price really hyper rallied. It was a big deal. And we're going to get into the details of this. Before we do, though, we've got a couple of comments in the chat there. We've got Anita laughing about Hexibus's name, probably. That was pretty funny for sure. And I like your Hex diamond there that you got in your profile picture. That's pretty cool too. We also got Fast Abdul in the house there. I'm here for the tech. Now, Fast Abdul, I'm not talking about liquidity forks today, but he launched the 4th liquidity fork on PulseChain. So that was pretty cool. I think it was Ink Printer, I think it is. So a big shout out to him for that. We're going to talk probably about liquidity forks coming up in another video with lending and stablecoins. So hold on to your hat for that one. All right, so that is kind of where we are. Let's get back on track, though. This is the fifth farm that we're talking about, VOX. This launched recently, had a big rally in price. Still got very good TVL in it, $277,000. Got up to, I think, about 800,000, something like that. In the ballpark, 750 to 850,000 on the TVL. I think that's where it peaked out. And, it's got a burning mechanism, things like that in it. So there's lots of little features you have to look forward to say, how is this going to be more sustainable over time? And I think the tokenomics is really maturing in farms as well. So let's jump on to some of the yields here. This is where we're getting into the high yield. So I talked about these few farms, the PulseX, the Daytona, the 9-inch, and the Spark Swap. These are all pretty good yields, right? You can't got to be pretty happy with 3 to 60% yields across these different farms. That's pretty good. But hey, look, this is crypto, and you can do 10 to 20 times better apparently at the moment with some of these field farms. Now, obviously, there's different risk factors to take into account. I'm not talking about those at the moment, but we're just looking straight at the hardcore yields. Now, the main token for this platform is VOX token, and you can see that it has an APR of 738% matched with DAI. So this is a eDAI that's been bridged over from Ethereum over to PulseChain and matched up. So that's eDAI there. That's 738%. We also got another one, VOX with Pulse. Remember, Pulse is the main coin for the Pulse chain. It's what you pay fees in. And of course, when you have anything in a DeFi protocol, it's typically a wrap Pulse. And of course, we got VBurn here, another token, which is a secondary token that they launched after the VOX token. And of course, that helps burn a protocol. That's matched with Pulse as well. And you can see these yields are pretty spectacular, 700%, 684%. Now, obviously, the better designed the protocol, the more new things that the protocol's got coming, the more tokenomic balancing it's got in the protocol, the longer the farms can last and the higher the yield can be. Obviously, if you're attracting a lot of new people, if you're adding a lot of cool farms, attracting more audiences, you've got the right kind of burning going on. There's all these different parameters you want to look at to see that a farm will be sustainable over a longer period of time. Some farms only last 3 to 5 days with the high prices. Then, of course, with high yields, they might have tens of thousands of percent, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of percent. And of course, that goes down pretty fast. And then other farms will have more sustainable type of tokenomics. So we're going to be looking at that as we evolve here. But you can see this is already running very well. And I'm going to talk about how long this has been going for. Now we've got VOX PulseX there sitting at 665. Wrap Bitcoin over on PulseChain. Remember, there's a fork copy max with VOX up 625%. We got 600% for VOX incentive token. Remember, incentive token is the incentive token from the PulseX farm. So there's this sort of shared pools and attracting those audiences from other dexes and other farms. That is pretty interesting going on here. So that's part of the, how can I make this more sustainable? I can get more demand in the old farm there. So I think that's pretty cool with the old VOX. Now we've got some other ones here as well. We've got VOX to VBurn. These are the two native tokens for this platform, 500% there. So that gives you more demand onto those. You buy those, you put them in the farm, helps keeps the price up of VOX and VBurn, and also holds the yields up, right? So that's kind of the idea there. It's pretty cool. Now, then we're going to drop down. Now we're dropping down in the yield. So we've dropped to about 5 to 700%, and now we're dropping down into lower yields. So here we've got PulseX Incognito. Cognito, another token on PulseChain, that's at 166%. Now, there may be very well because there's a lot more TVL, total value, locked in there. In other words, people will put a lot of liquidity, taking all their LP tokens and put them into this farm, right? So that's very important. And these will probably be using all V2. So they'll be using PulseX V2, which means if you go to the V2 pools over here, that's where they'll be putting the liquidity. And then they're coming in over on VOX here because VOX doesn't have a DEX, right? It's just a farm. So some of these are dexes and farms like 9-inch, but the rest of them are typically based on a PulseX V2, right? And so they're coming over here and earning. So VOX there at the moment is pretty neat. We've got what's this single-sided voxing here. So far we've talked about putting in two pairs into like a Uniswap V2, which has been forked over. Now you've got single-sided staking as well. So there's single-sided staking opportunities here, which means you don't have any of those impermanent loss risks that you have with providing liquidity. And of course, here we've got single-sided just with VOX. So you put your VOX in there, and the yield's pretty good, right? 133%. But of course, you've got the price of VOX moving up and down. What is it going to be? Is it going to be a big sort of tail on it? And of course, that will depend on all the pools that are being added, all the features that are being added, things like that, partnerships, growing the community, all that sort of stuff to come and do, fruition there. So that's 133%. We've got other ones here. Now we're really dropping down 39% for Pulse Dime, PulseX Pulse here. Now, the reason why is because the TVL is going up in these pairs, right? These are popular pairs. PulseX Pulse, obviously 2 of the 4 main coins on PulseChain, and the TVL's at 74,000. When we go back to the top here, we can see that we're on much lower one. So this one here, the VBurn and Pulse, 684% APR, but the TVL is only $2,700. That's how much liquidity's been locked into that underlying farm. And of course, this one here has got $12,700. So you've got to kind of see the TVL does make a big difference with the yield. So you got the price of the token of VOX. You've also got the amount of people that have gone in that thing and how much TVL's in there, right? That's going to lower because you're sharing around all that profit amongst everybody else, right? In terms of the VOX token, that's kind of the logic there. Then we've got other ones here at 20%, down at 20% Ink and PulseX. So that's kind of interesting, and we see that pretty common, right? And these are non-VOX tokens, right? So they're not related to the main token. So really they're earning VOX tokens, but they can sell them into the market, or they can take those VOX tokens and single-side stake those VOX as well, or they can just compound, right? They can just compound in some of these other peers here with VOX. So they might put in some VOX Pulse as well and have multiple farms running at the same time, all earning slightly different yields from each other. So that's kind of the self-driving there. So you get some people selling, you get some people compounding, some people single-siding. There's lots of different strategies people would do. So that's kind of the yields there. So we've got some pretty wide-ranging yields as well. And looks like, we've got a couple down there that was 0 yields. We're going to look at the chart in a minute, but first of all, we're going to look at the next and final farm, right? Before we do that, we've got a couple of comments. We've got Lance in the house there. What the heck's up? Good to see you, Lance. Big shout out to you. And we've got Wookie as well. How Jedi's Wookie is cooking steak. Nice one there, Wookie. That sounds pretty good. I hope you can send me some by courier or something, like airplane courier or something like that. Anyway, this VOX farm that's kind of launched recently had a pretty amazing price rally as well. Not all farms will have a big price rally, but VOX did have one. And then we're going to jump over to EMIT farm. This is the latest farm out at the moment. And of course, this has some really interesting evolutions here. Now, this is run by Kairos, and man, his experience and his talent is AAA, as I say. And he's running a pretty clever farm here with some pretty clever tokenomics. And of course, he would have recently watched the VOX launch as well, and he would be aware of all these other farms that we're looking through that have evolved over PulseChain. So we've started off with PulseX, got Daytona came pretty fast after. We had 9inch come after that as well. SparkSwap came after that. We've had a couple of other farms that I haven't talked about at the moment that are not on here as well during this period came out. And then, of course, recently we had VOX come out. And now we've got EMIT. And of course, EMIT has kind of evolved a lot with the tokenomics. And we're seeing some pretty interesting things. So now, as you see in VOX, the TVL is currently 278,000. EMIT is still quite early. It's at 37,300. And here's one of the little features that Kairos put in. We were going to have emissions of 3,188 EMIT tokens per day. So EMIT is the main token for this platform. It's the incentive token. We're going to have 3,000. And then, of course, on the day of the launch, he cuts it by 10x down to 318. So what that did was it reduced the dumpability and makes the protocol more sustainable just on that one move alone. And it's worked out pretty well, I think. And of course, that means that TVL is just slowly creeping up. We've seen TVL slowly creeping up. It started off about 17,000, now up at 37,000, been going up pretty much more or less every day. Had a big jump overnight as well. Now, the price is holding up pretty well at about 89 cents. It's ranging, probably between 60 cents and $1 and $1.20. So probably ranging in there, but it's pretty much been around where we are at the moment. And of course, more features and stuff are coming out all the time for this farm. So it's going to be fun to see. The other thing, of course, it had a supply of 100,000 tokens. It is now at 100,368. And the reason for that is that this one, unlike VOX, as far as I remember, this one has a tax of 5%. 4% goes to the single-sided staking, and 1% goes and burns this token. And so 783 tokens have been burned so far with volume. The more volume you have, the more you're going to be burning, of course, through the marketplace. So it's actually kept a tab on this amount. Now, we know a lot of the tokens are still sitting in the team's wallet as well. So most of the supply is not even in the hands of people as well. So it's either in a smart contract, liquidity pools, or in the team's wallet. So a lot of it's still in that. And that's pretty interesting, right? All right, so let's jump into some of the yields. We've got the EMIT Pulse farm at 685%. We've got the EMIT Ink farm at 582%. and we've got the EMIT PULSECH at a massive 19 under 30%. And of course, that reflects the amount of TVL that's locked in there. There's only $500 in that pool, so someone could come along quite easily and get that much higher yield if they're going to put it in the PULSECH. That being said, of course, there's a thin yield there being traded between EMIT and PULSECH. So if someone came and sold the PULSECH, got some risks around that. For example, sold the EMIT, I should say. You got a risk around your PULSECH balance there. Now you got less risk as you get to the EMIT Pulse Farm. There's $6,143 in that. So that's kind of where we are with the yields, but pretty stunning yields at the moment. Now EMITs. Now this is a big key thing. So we saw Kairos there lower the yields by 10x to 318. But guess what, guys? Guess what? We've got and ladies out there too. we got APR of 659% in stake EMIT. Now you guys remember that I told you about the Spark Swap, right? So Spark Swap had the special feature in addition to the farms of you could stake Spark and earn Spark and Pulse, right? That was kind of a cool feature. And of course, it kept people more sticky into the protocol, and it actually worked pretty well for quite a bit of time. But then, of course, you had VOX come in, and VOX has a single-sided, right? So you put VOX in, and of course, you can earn more VOX, right? That's kind of the idea there as well. And now you've got this EMIT farm, and so instead of earning VOX or earning LP tokens for Spark, you now earn EDI. This is a real evolution. So you're earning stablecoins, so it's not got any dumpability on it. It's got full-on stickability, really, and you can take that EDI that you earn. And remember that 5% of the trading volume is going pretty much to 4% is going to the stakers here that stake EMIT, and 1% is going to the burn. So you're burning off the token up the top here with 1% of the trading volume because you get 5% charged on buy and sell taxes and transfer taxes too. Then you also got a 4% going to this pool feeding this APR, which is sitting up at a pretty amazing amount of 660%. So it's pretty powerful stuff, right? You're earning EDI, so preventing the dumpability, and it's going to help sustainability of this farm, right? So instead of having a big rally at the beginning and then a big long tail or short tail, depending on the farm, they kind of follow that process. You could have quite a long running sustainable farm in here, which is pretty crazy. And so that EDI, what can you do with it? Well, you can just sit on stables. You can decide to buy more EMIT and stake more EMIT and earn more EDI. As a dollar coverage average, you can buy more EMIT and speculate on EMIT. There's lots of different things you can do there, which is pretty cool. Now we've got Free ES. Says, damn, stop revealing the secret EDI yield, says Free ES. Hey, look, we're talking about high farm yields here, the best farm yield. So we've got to get into some details, some juicy details. EMIT and VOX are the two main contenders, in my opinion, says Free ES. Yeah, and they're the most recent ones too. Hey, we've got a big shout out to Cold DeFi. We've got a big influence in the house there. Big shout out to you. Always good to see you in the house there and doing a great job, man. I always call you one of the two gateway influencers. You can work out what I mean by that, Cold DeFi. I'm sure you know. You're one of the two gateway influencers to the Pulse chain. Now, where we got a couple more comments in there, I think. We've got Crypto Bros in the house there. Sup, fella? EMIT rocking from day one. Yeah, it's performing like a boss, isn't it? Performing very well indeed. Imagine Inc. with only 100,000 supplies is Crypto Bros. Well, that's true too. Well, let's get in here. We never know what's going to come up here. Now we've got, so these were the 4 pairs that were launched at the beginning. And then, of course, Kairos, the founder, added in these non-EMIT token pairs. Remember that? So you see that on VOX too, right? So VOX had these pairs with VOX, and they were matched with DAI, Pulse, and of course, then he launched these non-EMIT ones, right? So these ones here, essentially, they're more risky, but they also bring more demand. So that makes sense because you're bringing in some of the popular tokens, but they're also giving them VOX tokens or EMIT tokens, and so they're more likely to sell those. But they may just compound into single-side staking. They may buy in the tokens. So you're going to get a mixed strategies that people run, right? But the hardcore speculators typically are sellers, and that's why working out how to make a farm more sustainable is the trick of the game, right? And I think that Kairos is doing a pretty good job. We can also see some of those kind of measures used in VOX and SparkSwap as well. Now, let's just jump into some of these ones here. So we've got some pretty popular tokens, obviously DAI and Pulse, Inc. and PulseX there, and these jump down. See how the yields drop down? So we're dropping down from like 700%, or even up to almost 2,000%. We're dropping all the way down now to about 170%. But man, that's still great, right? 170%. And of course, you got DAI, Pulse there, and of course, you got Inc. token and PulseX, and that's at 54%. So imagine you don't even care, right? You don't even care whether you have PulseX or Inc. They're both tokens for the PulseX DEX. And of course, that DEX here is over here. And if you look at the farm, excluding the fees that you earn, the farm with these peers is only earning 0.5%. So on PulseX, it's only earning 0.5% now, but over here on EMIT, you are earning 54%. So you do the math. You do the math. It's a lot better. What's that? 140 times better or something? It's huge. So big time there. Now you got the PulseX at 64% as well. And if we go back to the old PulseX farm, we've got the PulseX at 0.42%, or you could have it over here and earn 64%. So way better yield, right? Way better yield there. And of course, then we had some new tokens launched. Pump tires. We've got Pump, and most of these are very popular tokens that have launched from Pump Tires, which is something that Rich Hart forked over to PulseChain. And then we've had recently Impulse launch. This is another project from Kairos that he launched, I think, about a year ago or so. And then, of course, we've just had this Neon launch as well. And, of course, Neon is another protocol altogether that we may be covering on this channel very soon. So Neon there is being paired up with EMIT, and, of course, went through the DAO vote. Now, this is earning about 1,200%. The TVL is pretty low in there, though, only $116. So that's an opportunity for somebody potentially, right? So if you don't care much about those two tokens, that could be pretty cool. And of course, we've got 1,140% in the Impulse EMIT farm, and there's only 614 TVL in there. So that could be another good opportunity too, possibly for people. You've got to weigh up the risks and returns there. The Pump Most token there, $344, 840% APR. So not bad. Even if you put a little bit of capital in there, man, you could, on those yields do quite well potentially. So kind of cool. Now, some of the other things we've seen, of course, this has got an NFT. Unlike VOX didn't have NFTs, but this has NFTs. And of course, there's 555 of these. And of course, that's how the original Pulse was seeded for the liquidity pool. Million Pulse each for NFT. And these are going to be quite rare. There's going to be a rarity index coming up for this. So it's kind of cool. This is a side note, really. And mint one out today, and they're pretty good. They also boost your points in the Telegram. So EMIT has a really cool Telegram airdrop program, and you earn EMIT tokens, you earn Pulse, you earn other tokens, and the more you're engaged, the more you promote, the more points you get, and you get promoted up on Telegram. And also, if you've got NFTs, you get NFT points added as well. So it's additive. So you got like 3 points on Telegram, community airdrop list, and you also get 3 NFTs. That's 6 points. And that gives you a better chance of getting more of the share of the airdrops when they get randomly out. I think we've had like 2 or 3 today, different tokens out today at the moment. So it's kind of cool. Now, I'm just going to post the link there to EMIT, and you guys can join up today if you want to get part of that community program. Really encourage you to do that. It's free to do, right? So you might as well do it. Might as well do it there. So that is the EMIT farm. You can join it today and airdrop. Now, you do have to request to get on airdrop, so just hit up Kairos there in the chat there. I'm sure people will help you out with that. All right, we've got a couple other people in the chat here with some comments. We've got Frank White in the house. Hey. A big shout out to Frank White, man. Doing a great job out in the community. Big shout out for that, and I appreciate your help earlier today as well. We got owning an NFT lets me APR hunt 0% fees. Yeah, so that's the other thing, right? So if you've got an NFT, you come into the farms, and some of the farms do have fees to enter. So let's say you had $100 and it's a 1% fee, then you're going to pay $1 in a fee, right? That's the logic. And you can see this DAI Pulse has a 1% fee, but the APR is 170%, so it's pretty good. And then of course you've got this one here, Ink Pulse X, has a 1% fee. So some of the farms will have fees on them, entry fees. So just got to take that into account. You can see over VOX here, this PulseX Incognito token pair has a 1% fee on the entry there, so as well. Now, what else? We've got a couple of comments there. That is the EMIT farm, so you can join up to there. It has an airdrop program, so get engaged. And of course, you can get a referral link there just by typing / link, and that will give you your own custom referral link, and invite people to join up. That's pretty much it. That's kind of cool. Real billionaire boys in the house there. I like indeed. Very cool. Now, this is the farm. So we've gone through a lot of these. Pretty cool. But one cool thing about EMIT too, it also has a DAO, right? So people get to vote with their points here. So let's have a look here. With the more EMIT you got, the more votes you got, right? And we've got lots of votes in here. So I went through this earlier today on my first live stream, but they got proposal 3, proposal 4, proposal 5, proposal 6, 7, 8, and 9. And these are all other different communities. So actually helping sustainability of this DEX is very clever, because you're bringing in more protocols, more other communities into the ecosystem of EMIT, which is a very cool thing. So you can kind of see VOX has been really successful. But now EMIT's kind of evolved that route. Now we've got like a DAO now, bringing new communities in, and then we've also got these NFTs, which help boost your points in the airdrops, and also allow you zero fees in some of these pools. So it's got some of these really cool things. We've also got they've got promotion allocation in the tokenomics to get influencers to cover it and stuff like that. There's lots of things, people in the community covering it. There's lots of different things that they're tweaking. There are buy competitions in the EMIT one there for that as well. People win prizes, 100 EMIT tokens, 50 EMIT tokens, NFTs they win. There's lots of different things that are being won in the old EMIT there. So some really cool evolutions here, help to keep it sustainable, which is pretty cool. And the TVL seems to be climbing all the time. And of course, with PULSECHAIN coming off the bottom as well with the prices, we get a rally, particularly this week. Good chance of a rally continuing on from a quite severe pullback in Pulse. We could get maybe a week rally out of this with a couple of little pauses in between. It's definitely a good chance, probably more probable than not. So that is pretty exciting to see where that will head as well, and that will lift the TVL in these farms, of course, because all the assets will climb, which is pretty cool. So moving off a low base is pretty exciting. So these are the 6 ones here. We've kind of come from the launch of PULSECHAIN back on the 13th, and this launched a couple of days after that. 13th of May 2023. Then we had Daytona Finance launched not too long after, 9-inch farms as well. Then SparkSwap. We've recently had VOX, and of course EMIT there, and we can see a lot of evolution in these farms to make them more sustainable, make high yields, and really do a really good job. So I had to cover this stuff. So Triple Alliance in the house there says great comps and farms, absolutely. So doing really good on these. Now, the one thing I want to talk about is the charts. So let's go to the charts here. I've charted out all these farms, right? Now, there's a couple that I haven't included. Some of them were have come and gone, let's say. So they did very well for a short period of time, and then their farms are not yielding. Most of these ones are all still running, right? So to various degrees. You have to check each pool individually, but they're still running, of course. Now, we've got all these pools here. I've ordered them by age, so you can see that the order there is correct. And got the earliest ones here. So if we go to PulseX, obviously this is a Richard Hart token. This is the main DEX on PulseChain. It does most of the volume on PulseChain, and of course it's helped by these farms as well. These farms contribute to that, right? Because they give extra incentives, so people put liquidity in PulseX V2. So that's pretty important there. Now let's just jump into the daily here. You can see PulseX running at the moment. Let me just jump into the. I'm going to go to weekly on PulseX because it's been around for so long. That is the PulseX chart there, and that is the price where it is at the moment. So you can start to see we had a big pullback here, and we've had a big pullback before. This is when the SEC came around, right? We've had a couple of pullbacks in here, and we're bouncing at the moment off another pullback. So getting into farms when you're bouncing off the bottom could be very good for yield, right? It could really, and particularly in US dollars. So keep a lookout for that. Now, this has been around for 1 year, 10 months, and 20 days. So that is a PulseX. Now, the next one we're going to be looking at is Daytona Finance, right? That's launched afterwards. And so 1 year, 10 months. This is 1 year, 10 months, and 13 days. So not long after PulseX launched. And this launched here. So this is the weekly chart. You can see, obviously, it's pulled back with the rest of the PulseChain pullback there. Obviously, it's paired with Pulse, right? It's paired with Pulse. If Pulse goes down, it's going down. And down it's gone in US dollars. Now, you can switch it to the ratio to Pulse, and it will give you the ratio there, and you can see how that's performing relative. So, probably about 2 months ago, it had a big rally, and now it's just pulled back down. So now it's worth 20 Pulse, one Tony token from the Daytona Finance one is worth 20. Now, this was a very popular farm. I cannot tell you enough. That was very popular. It's got tons of rich features on it too. Pretty cool. And then, of course, we had the next one, which is the farms for 9-inch. Now, this was a huge sacrifice program. Now, quite a few projects on PulseChain were raised through the capital to get them up and running was raised through a process called sacrifices. That includes PulseChain and PulseX. And of course, that is, many of them have not performed very well. A few of them have done okay. And I would say that 9-inch is kind of one of those that has kept going. And still got decent market caps and stuff like that, although well below where it's been in historical. You can see this chart looks pretty bad in terms of selling off. So we're down at 5 zeros 11.23, but this has been around for 1 year 5 months. So whereas PulseX and Daytona were around for 1 year and 10 months, this has been around for 1 year and 5 months. give you an idea there. Now, they raised about $15-16 million, and congratulations to the person that raised it, but probably only cost a fraction of that to launch the farm. But of course, they've been doing stuff regularly here and there to prop up the community and all sorts of stuff like that. But you could definitely see a bit of money coming in here would help with the chart, wouldn't it? That's what I'm just saying. All right, so that's kind of where we are with that chart at the moment. So it's currently at 5013.31, and of course the market cap of there is about $1.2 million. Let's jump over to the fourth one, Spark Swap. Now remember the last one, 9-inch, was at about 1 year and 5 months, and of course this one here has been around for 1 year and 4 months and 24 days. So it only came out just a little bit after a 9-inch there. So Spark Swap just only a little bit after, a couple of weeks after the 9-inch farm there as well. You can see the price on this on the let's go to the weekly on this too. It's been around for a long time. And you can see this chart is looking pretty bad. That's a pretty bad looking chart. But we're currently at 1600th of a penny. The market cap at the moment is still at 81K, so it's pretty small. Even 9-inch was managing to get $1 million plus market cap and liquidity at 54K at the moment. But like I say, the yields, they're still offering some particularly good yields in here, although you have to be a bit more cautious with the liquidity pools and the details. So the details have the amount of TVL liquidity in there. So you can check out that pretty small, as you can see, around $1,000. So it's pretty small, pretty risky into that degree, but it's got some cool features. Got a bridge as well, which is pretty important, and it's still ticking away there with the old farm. So I'm just trying to see. I think they have the total TVL on here somewhere. They got marketplaces as well, collections, things like that. Looks like they put pictures too. So there's a few other features on there. Now, obviously, we're going to look at VOX. VOX has been around. So these have both been around well over a year. And then, of course, we're looking more recently into VOX. VOX has only been around for 25 days. So here we go. We're going from 1 year. All these other ones, PulseX, Daytona, have been around for 1 year and 10 months. The farm for 9-inch and Spark Swap around for about 1 year and 5 months. And now we're suddenly coming into the future here. And VOX recently launched only 25 days ago. Can you believe it? So there's only a few weekly candles on there. That is the chart. So obviously, this had an interesting rally. We often get this with farms. We have a big ride here, but the yield was very high, right? Yield was very high on the farms. And so obviously, it's come down quite a bit here. So I thought it was at 1,000,000%. I can't remember now. It's very high, and it's all come back down, 80%, 80,000%, etc. And now we're back down at 22 cents. So the high was up at $8.28 here on the weekly. Let's go to the daily, though, because we've got a lot more details to show there. So it had 1, 2, 3, 4 days of a price rally and got all the way up. So the opening price, let's say the opening price was around about, what is the opening price? 3.5 cents, rallied all the way to $8.28. So a lot of profit in there, right? And then, of course, it's been sold off with high yields as well. And down we came. So that was an issue with the tokenomics, right? Now, that said, there's some still very high yields in here. And of course, there is that single-sided staking, earning VOX tokens there. And, the team is still running. I think it's about just under 500 people in the Telegram for this one. So that is ticking away. And I know they're reaching out to do more things, no doubt, in the future. And, of course, that gets us into the market cap. The market cap for that at the moment is around 52K. Liquidity at 33K. So liquidity is very good compared to market cap, and the volume's around 5K a day. So there we go. Let's jump into the final one, EMIT, of course, from Kairos. And, of course, this is the latest one that's been launched. How long old is this? 5 days and 15 hours. So we're getting right up. This has been around for 5 days and 15 hours. And look at that chart. A very different looking chart, isn't it? So that was one of the little secret sources there, that he cut the emission rate from 3,118 and then jumped it down on the day to 318. A very clever move there. The other thing, he also has the burn tax, remember? He added the burn tax to the token, 1% going to the burn of the volume, and of course 4% going to the single-side staking pool, giving a very attractive yield there, focused on sustainable farm, right? Very interesting. I'd say Fox, for the most part, is quite a classic farm setup, with the exception, I guess, of the single siding. They don't always have single sides, but typically that's the way people go these days. And I think EMIT there from Kairos has really evolved it here quite a bit. And now we have a lot of farms and a lot of more communities are being added one after another, right? So we had the PulseX farms, the pump tires, and of course in the DAO we've got more communities to come, right? There's eight different votes or 9 different votes coming in here that are also going to add new communities. There we go. So a lot of difference here, even including VOX Finance is a proposal number 8. So there we go. That's getting other people that participated in VOX to come in as well. So pretty cool. There we got OG Heart there. We got Hex. We got other communities there. Finvestor. Finvestor is a very popular token printer ecosystem, and it's got a dozen tokens in there, doing very well on PulseChain. One of the best ecosystems. People are earning dripping tokens nonstop like Pulse. It is doing pretty well there. So some big protocols there potentially coming into this farm. So a lot of the communities there. So let's see how that goes. Now, also obviously the airdrop program is doing very well. People are promoting pretty hard there as well. And of course, EMIT is also heading to around about 500 members or so. So that's pretty cool in Telegram. Now, this has been around. Look at that channel. So it's performing pretty well in the 4 or 5 days. Now, as you guys know, this is let's look at the daily chart. That is the daily chart there. So it looks quite different, doesn't it, from the VOX one there? So the tokenomics are definitely having an impact there. The fact it didn't have a hyper pump in the price too much. It only got up to, it opened at 4.8 cents and rallied to $4.15. So it's still quite aggressive from that point of view. Remember the other one, VOX rallied from 3.5 cents up to $8.22. So this is done, I guess commensurate there. This is a less increase, and of course is holding up pretty well, holding this channel, as I say, between 60 cents and of course currently at about $1.20. Now the other thing that he has on this, not just the airdrops and communities, but also he has buying a buying competition. So this if you're buying the token EMIT, you get into the competitions and you can actually win prizes like EMIT and NFTs and potentially other tokens as well. So a very clever setup in addition to single side staking farm and of course all the project teams coming in, the DAO and everything else. So pretty good. It's going pretty well there. Now that is the chart at the moment, so looking pretty good. And of course that suggests that the yields should hold up for quite a long time. So it's kind of cool. And I think that's a big focus of Kairos there to kind of make the ultimate farm to some degree. Pretty cool. Now, who else we got jumping here? We got Triple Alliance says Tony has been a pretty solid token. That's from Triple Alliance. And of course, Zach there saying EMIT for life. And of course, what else there? Yeah, Tony, Daytona Farm did very well for a very long time and still, relatively, I guess, doing pretty well. We got Triple Alliance says more family, the better. And of course, big buy, yeah, says Triple Alliance here, yeah. So lots of cool tokenomics there coming out. Hey, if you're over on Rumble, smash the follow button. And of course, if you're watching it after the live stream, leave a comment there and definitely repost the video around as we looking to do a lot of great coverage over on Rumble as well. So definitely check that out and smash the like button. All right, let's jump over to the price of that. Is where we're at the moment. Market cap is sitting at 89K and the liquidity is sitting at $9,400. So very different to what we saw in VOX. With the VOX liquidity being quite a bit bigger, of course, relative to the market cap. And of course, here we've got the opposite is the case. Liquidity is 9.4 thousand and the market cap at 89,000. And of course, we see the TVL is slowly creeping up. That TVL is creeping up there. That's a pretty good sign of things going forward. Cult DeFi says, I'm on Corey Costa tonight. Nice one there. Now, Corey Costa, of course, like Cult DeFi, another PulseChain influence out there. All right, so pretty cool. Keep up the great work. That is kind of the key stuff I wanted to cover. And I hope you guys have a good appreciation of the, I guess, a little bit of history lesson there about farms on PulseChain. And, of course, the yields that are offering at the moment. But definitely VOX and EMIT there, those yields are pretty spectacular. And it's going to be fun to see those played out. And the evolution of the tokenomics is going really cool. So it's definitely worth jumping in to any of those VOX or EMIT farm as well. Now, obviously, Daytona 9-inch ticking away, SparkSwap ticking away. These are all the farms that are still offering decent yields. PulseX, of course. So they all have a place in the market at still. Now, there's a couple of farms that I haven't covered. And, of course, that's because they've come and gone. And essentially, there's not much TVL or liquidity left. And of course, the lessons have been learned from those protocols, right? And some of these devs that have launched these protocols have learned from that, right? So that's kind of where we are. So if you want to join up to EMIT and airdrops, that's the one there. And of course, that's the latest farm that's just joined. So check that out as well. What else there? We got Crypto Bro says Dark Horse meme coin coming to EMIT. Yeah, well, we got that on the farm, haven't we? Sorry, on the DAO. And that is coming up. I think it's the first one at the bottom, Dark Horse meme coin. And in fact, Dark Horse meme coins are going to be the next topic I'm going to be talking about. And I know that that's going to be good for Rumble Actually, where's it gone here? It's disappeared. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't see it on here. The vote must have finished on that, though. Surely the vote's finished on Dark Horse. All right, so very cool. That's a good place to finish. Let's finish on the farms there. EMIT Farm is the latest there on day 6 and holding up pretty well there at the moment. And of course, there's a cool buy competition on at the moment that you can win some prizes as well if you get into the Telegram there. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's 15 minutes on the hour. Pretty cool. Lots of opportunities. Of course, PULSECH, we covered that. That is a Richard Hart farm. It's got tons of liquidity on it. In fact, let's pull up the liquidity for PULSECHAIN before we wrap up finally, and let's get to see how much is going on there. So you can actually see the DEXs on the top. So we've got the PULSECH DEX. We've got the 9mm, which I didn't cover in anything on that. And then we've got the 9-inch, which I covered. And then we've got Spike Swap, which I covered. These are they're ranked by the amount of volume going through. So you can see PULSECH at the moment is doing $24.6 million. So it's going through this DEX and, of course, V2 DEX and farms. And, of course, 9-inch, of course, we talked about that. That's doing about $500,000 in volume. And we talked about those farms, right? Talked about those farms here as well. And what else we got here? We got the Spark Swap. We talked about that. And that's doing about 7,000. See how the volume's really dropped off? This used to be quite large. The volume dropped off there, and you can see there's a limited number of peers trading on there with decent volume. We can see that most of it's Spark, the main token. There's a bit of Note token there from Randy Alasky project ticking away there as well. And then, of course, we've got a couple others here. I've got Dextop and Pulse Rate and other ones like that. But, they're pretty much fallen off, really. If we jump on Pulse Rate there, still got $6,700 through it, but they're largely fallen off there. I'm not sure if Dextop has farms. I can't remember if it does or not, but that is ticking away there with about $1,000 of volume. So that's why I didn't really talk about these ones. It's kind of a Spark Swap upwards is kind of where we head there. All right, so that's pretty kind of where we are. All DEXs, of course, at the moment. Volume on PULSECHAIN, 27 million. And we're doing about 390,000 transactions at the moment. And you can see some of the popular tokens that are performing well over the last 24 hours. And of course, I went through all those on the live stream earlier today. All right, so kind of cool. Now, I probably will be looking to do meme coins coming up next. And I know that's going to be a popular topic. So I hope you guys enjoyed that too. And we may end up doing also crypto printers as well. So if you guys haven't joined into our Gem Hunters, I highly recommend it. We've got obviously some pretty awesome people in there. Co-founding with me is MV. He's very good on all these things. And we've also got Wookie as well, one of our moderators in there as well. So if you haven't joined up, I'm going to post the link to our Hunters, and you should join up today. Now, you can also get a link in there as well, and you can share that around. And entirely encourage you. Now, this is only day 2 of our public opening of Gem Hunter. Day 1, we reached our first target, and day 2, we obviously doubled that target. So we're heading towards 200 members, and we're only just started. So you want to get in this. It's going to be a viral group. What we want to do is we want to match project teams, really quality ones. We want to look for quality ones. That's why it's Gem Hunter. And we want to match that with all the crypto enthusiasts out there. So if that's you, if you're looking for high yield, if you're looking for big X's, these are the kind of things we want to match up, those project teams with the people on the PULSECHAIN and other chains as well. We're going to do other chains as well. And, of course, we'll probably have quite a few influencers in there as well. And we've got a couple of influencers like Colt DeFi in the chat there at the moment. So a big shout out to him. He's doing a great job. So if you want to join up to Gem Hunters, check this out. Now, we'll be doing a video. We're just kind of doing a soft launch for the public opening. But I will be doing some dedicated videos coming up. So stay tuned for all that. We're just slowly creeping up with our membership. And then we're going to, open it up really, really big. So join up to that today. I'm going to post the link to Gem Hunters. And once you get in there, don't forget to type /link, and that will give you your own custom link. And you can share it around to all your friends and bring them on board to Gem Hunters. Like I say, we're going to try and do some pretty special things on PULSECHAIN and really help PULSECHAIN grow, as well as get your bags pumped with big X's and big high yields. So I hope you guys enjoyed the farm coverage today. This is kind of a bit of a sneak peek there of what's going on PULSECHAIN. We're going to be targeting different categories on PULSECHAIN that offer really good returns. And I hope you guys got some benefit from this as well. Don't forget to share it around and join Gem Hunters today. Now, I've also got all the links to our Discord, which we run. It's really amazing. So all the links to that in the video description. I encourage you to join up to that. Those are private Discords. So join up. We've got the community membership, $12.50 a month. The strategy club membership, which is next level stuff. Get onto that. That is $35 a month. And I just did the monthly update for April in there, so you get to read that if you join. And of course, check out our crypto course, 15 videos that will get you up to, from beginner to advanced. So definitely that, lots about crypto after watching that course. Check that out. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Take care, everybody. I'll catch you on the next video. A big shout out to those on Rumble. Smash the follow button. Big shout out to those on YouTube. Smash the subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next show. Take care, everybody. See you in Discord. Bye for now.